Hey everyone, this is Sean McDonnell with Quiet Waters Realty Group and eXp Realty. I'm sitting down today with the owner of one of our favorite insurance companies in the area here, April Jones, to discuss just some insurance specifics for property owners here in Southeast North Carolina. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to stay up to date on local real estate news, and please enjoy this interview with April. April, thank you so much for joining us today and talking with us a little bit about your business and just insurance.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So just a little bit or a few questions just about you. So what made you decide to get into the insurance industry initially?
So it was a happenstance, honestly. I was finishing up my master's program and I was actually geared to going into human resources. And I met someone and she was a general manager of a captive agency. And we just started having a conversation. She asked me, had I ever considered insurance? And I didn't really know much about the industry outside of, having my own car insurance. So she kind of explained the ins and outs, and quite honestly, I was fascinated. And so I gave it a whirl and I never looked back.
Awesome. And who did you work for prior to starting your own company?
So I was at Farm Bureau,
Okay.
and they're captive agency, so they only write on Farm Bureau paper.
Yeah. Awesome. And so you've since started your own insurance company and are doing a great job and helped so many of our clients out. We're very appreciative of that. What is your favorite thing about owning an insurance company?
Being able to pivot. So anytime there's significant changes within the industry, I don't have to wait for corporate to kind of, shoot down policy change or whatnot. I can go after whatever's needed to, keep up with the industry. So if a new carrier is on the horizon that I feel will be a good fit for my customers, I can go after their contract pretty immediately.
Yeah, that is so cool. Thank you. So just to kind of help educate, our networks about insurance, specifically relating to properties and homes, what type of insurance policies here in southeastern North Carolina are usually needed for, say, if someone was buying a primary residence?
So ideally, if it's their primary home, they're going to want an HO3 policy or better. So that's your standard homeowners policy, covers wind and hail, wind-driven rain, anything is basically that's not specifically excluded, which would be flood. That's going to be another policy that you're going to want to consider, especially if you're, regardless of your flood zone, you're going to want to consider that coverage. So assuming the house qualifies, the roof has been updated, then you will qualify for the HO3 policy. If you don't, then, there's other avenues we can take until you make, repairs to your home that'll bring you up to speed.
Cool. And you hit on flood insurance a little bit. Obviously, we're on the coast here near the ocean. When is flood insurance usually needed, or what flood zones, if the property is in, will require flood insurance?
Right. So flood insurance is always needed, especially when you flood.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's mandatory when you're in an A zone or a V zone, and that's going to be mandated by your lender. So if you have a loan against the property, they're going to require flood if you're in one of those two zones, but I recommend it for all flood, anywhere in coastal North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And we'll throw a website up in the comments of this with a link to one of our favorite flood maps that is very user friendly. But where is the best kind of public data source that you guys can recommend for looking to see what your flood zone is?
I mean, it's kind of cumbersome, but I would go straight to FEMA and look up there. They're going to have the most recent maps, most updated.
Yeah.
But I would also, employ a insurance agent that can look at CoreLogic or whatnot just to see if it's required.
CoreLogic, is that a software that you guys
It's a software
have?
that we use, lenders also use, and it basically just brings in all the flood determinations.
Okay, yeah, FEMA is our go-to as well, so we'll put a link for that in the comments of this video. So we hit primary residences. For investment properties, we work with a lot of real estate investors. Is there an additional insurance that investors will want to look into for buying investment properties here?
Yes, so investors are going to want to protect not only the property through a dwelling policy, but they're also going to want to protect their liability as a landlord. So we sell usually into landlord risk, which is leaseor's risk, and then the dwelling policy that allows for weekly or annual rentals.
Okay, and so if a house is in a flood zone and it's an investment property, am I accurate in saying that they'll need a HO3 policy, a dwelling policy, and a flood policy?
No, the HO3 would just be for homeowner occupied only. So
Okay.
the DP would be a dwelling policy for an investor
Yeah.
that allows for deviations in occupancy, and then you'd need flood if it's a flood.
Okay, so still two policies.
Still two policies, yeah.
Cool. And then potentially liability.
And
if
then
they wanna
liability
have
if
that.
it's not already included. But
Okay.
we recommend also getting a blanket general liability policy for landlord risk.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That makes sense. With kind of all the changes in the economy and lots of things going on in the world and in our country, what do you think will happen with like the insurance world here in southeastern North Carolina? Should we expect prices to continue rising once policies start renewing?
Yeah, good question. Definitely insurance has made a lot of significant changes in the past couple of years. And mainly the biggest changes are just tightening guidelines. I mean, we're seeing, some carriers issuing 5-year roof mandates, which is insane. But that's just a way to control how many policies that they're writing. So we're going to see increased guidelines being implemented. We're going to see rates being raised across the board, mainly because reinsurance is going up. And until we can have a few years where there's storms that loss ratios are down and we see investments on their returns, then reinsurance is going to just trickle down to the carriers. And with that said, there's going to be a lot of carriers that are exiting, and the ones that do remain, they're going to have to increase their rates. I do think it'll stabilize a little bit. Most carriers the past year have increased their rates, so hopefully if we can just stabilize, that'll be great.
Yeah, no, that definitely would. And when you said the 5-year minimum, that means when talking about the roofs, that means like in order for them to
want to carry, to want to even insure the home, and that's just one carrier, and so they're not really even something we're writing through at this point. But it's just one of those hard choices that they had to make in order to kind of pump the brakes a little bit on the amount of business that they're writing. So I mean, we don't. That's not going to be across the board. We have carriers that'll write up to 25-year roofs, but just saying.
No, that's a good example. Thank you. So, April, with people who are buying properties that are not habitable, say an investor wants to flip a house and he buys a house that's not in livable condition, what type of insurance policies should they get during a big renovation or a rehab?
Good question. So, and we do like to know this up front because a lot of times people forget to tell us that they are going to flip the home or that they're just going to renovate it for their own personal use. Depending on the extensiveness of it, especially if they're not living in the home, then we would need to write a builder's risk. Sometimes the problem lies because the lender is going to want to see an annual policy paid up front, so we will have to write a builder's risk, a year term. So sometimes that does get a little bit hairy, especially because most of those are earned premium and they're not, we can't cancel and refund them. So you may pay a little more on the front end, but we absolutely need to know if you're doing massive renovations.
Okay, and what would like the worst case scenario, say someone didn't tell you that, and
the insurance carrier that we insured them with, when they come out to do an inspection and they see that it's vacant or that they're ripping out cabinets, they're going to cancel. So we'll have to do it. It's just a layer of double work on their part.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, thank you so much for coming here today and to provide us with more information on insurance. So if people have follow-on questions or want to get in touch with you or your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, yeah, and thank you for letting me come. Absolutely, you can call us. Our main number is 910-660-0215. You can also go to our website, apriljonesinsurance.com. We have quote links that you can go through and just find out all of our contact information, but also you can just fill out the quote link.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Well, we'll share that link in the number 2 in the notes. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you again. You have an awesome team. You guys provide great service for us personally and our clients. And yeah, it was nice talking to you today.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today and watching this interview. We'd really appreciate it if you like our video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future content.